Good morning. I welcome you all for the 28th session of mechanical measurement subject. In today's session, I am going to discuss about diaphragm type pressure gauge and Macleod gauge of chapter or unit 3, measurement of force, torque and pressure. The today's contents to be discussed are the principal construction, working and MCQs for two different devices like diaphragm type pressure gauge and Macleod gauge. In the last session already we have discussed about the what is pressure, then also we have discussed about the Bourdon tube pressure gauge. In today's session, first let us discuss about diaphragm type pressure gauge and followed with Macleod gauge. Now let me start with diaphragm type pressure gauge. See, this diaphragm type pressure gauge is generally employed for the measurement of relatively low pressure of fluid. Should remember, diaphragm type pressure gauge are generally employed for the measurement of relatively low pressure of fluid. Here you can see the schematic diagram of a diaphragm type pressure gauge. This is also a schematic diagram, whereas the picture of a diaphragm type pressure gauge is shown here. The difference you can observe here, this has a upper diaphragm housing and a bottom diaphragm housing, and it has a diaphragm placed between this both upper and lower diaphragm housing. Upper and lower diaphragm housings are bolted to with each other. This represents the mechanism involved in for the movement of for the upward movement of the diaphragm. Here this is a corrugated diaphragm and this is the rack, and this rack is connected to a pinion and a pointer moves over a calibrated scale. Generally, the diaphragm type pressure gauges are employed for measurement of the relatively low pressure of a fluid, and it can measure the above or below the atmospheric pressure. Diaphragm type pressure gauges can measure the pressure above or below the atmospheric pressure also, and they generally these are capable of measuring from 10 millibar to 60 bar. Diaphragm type pressure gauges are suitable for measurement from 10 millibar to 60 millibar. And if you see the pictures, the schematic diagrams, you can see here generally the three parts are important. One is corrugated diagram. This is the corrugated diagram. In this case you can see this is the corrugated diagram. This is the corrugated diagram. Then this rack, and this is the pinion. And diaphragm type pressure gauge operates with rack and pinion mechanism. The main parts are the corrugated diagram, rack and the pinion, and this pointer moves over the calibrated scale. Here this is the picture. This is pointer is connected to the pinion, and you can see the mechanism here. From the exam point of view, we just refer this sketch, this schematic diagram. And this corrugated diagram which I have shown here it looks like a curved line, or it is a line. Here you can see it has a large surface area, large circular surface area, and of corrugated shape. Because of this large working surface of the circular corrugated diaphragm, it can measure relatively small pressures. And these circular corrugated diaphragms are made up of either sheet metals or polytetrafluoroethylene, that is PTFE, of precise dimensions, which you are going to see in the cross section here. The corrugated diaphragm, these are having very large working surface, circular surface. This large working circular corrugated surface provides to measure relatively small pressures. You can see here the cut section how these diaphragms are placed in between the upper and lower bottom housings. Now when the gauge is connected to the fluid whose pressure is to be measured, what happens? This corrugated diaphragm, which is in this position, it changes its shape to this form. The shape will be changed to this form. The fluid under pressure, when you are going to connect the diaphragm type pressure gauge whose pressure is to be measured, the fluid under pressure causes deformation to this diaphragm. The diaphragm, which is horizontal in the initial conditions, it gets deformed in this direction because of the pressure. Because of pressure, it gets deformed. So the pressure will act in this direction. The diaphragm will get deformed into this shape. As the deformation of the diaphragm occurs, this deformation of the diaphragm is magnified by means of rack and pinion mechanism. And through this rack and pinion mechanism, the deformation of the diaphragm rotates this pinion. You should remember, the deformation of the diaphragm is magnified several times by means of rack and pinion mechanism. Through this rack and pinion mechanism, the deformation of the diaphragm rotates the pinion, and the pointer attached to the pinion, this is the pointer which is attached to the pinion, moves or rotates over a calibrated scale. The diaphragm, corrugated diaphragm deformation is magnified by means of rack and pinion mechanism, and through this rack and pinion, this is the rack, this is the pinion, through this rack and pinion mechanism, the deformation of the corrugated diaphragm rotates this pinion, and the pointer attached to this pinion moves over the or rotates over the calibrated scale. And the position of the pointer on a scale directly gives the pressure of the fluid. This is how the diaphragm type pressure gauge is employed for measuring relatively small fluid pressures. Now just once again I will repeat here. See, from exam point of view, the question may be asked for 5 marks, and the question is, explain with a neat sketch the working of diaphragm type pressure gauge. And first you have to write the sketch. This is the schematic diagram. You should label the parts. This is the corrugated diaphragm, this is the rack, this is the pinion, this is the pointer, and this is the calibrated scale. This sketch carries 2 or 3 marks. Now if you want to explain, as usual, you should write what is the purpose of this diaphragm type pressure gauge. As we know, this is generally employed for measuring relatively low pressure of fluid. And this diaphragm type pressure gauge can measure pressure above or below the atmospheric pressure. And it generally consists of namely 3 main parts. Those are the corrugated diaphragm, rack and the pinion mechanism. And when the gauge is connected to the fluid whose pressure is to be measured, when you are going to connect this to the fluid under pressure, what happens? That fluid under pressure causes deformation to this corrugated diaphragm. When you are going to connect this diaphragm type pressure gauge to the fluid under pressure, the fluid under pressure causes deformation to this corrugated diaphragm, and through rack and pinion mechanism, the deformation of the diaphragm is magnified, and this rack and pinion mechanism also rotates the pinion, and the pointer attached to the pinion moves over the calibrated scale, and the position of the pointer on a scale directly gives the pressure of the fluid. This is very simple to remember, simple explanation. Then next, I want to know how much you have learned from this video session on diaphragm type pressure gauge. Simple MCQs are given here. Try to answer within 15 seconds if you have gained the knowledge. The first question, multiple choice question, is dash is used to measure relatively low pressure of fluid. Your time starts now, 15 seconds. Answer options are given, 4 options. A. Bourdon tube pressure gauge, diaphragm type pressure gauge, McLeod gauge. D. All of the above. The correct answer should be, yes, the correct answer has appeared, that is the diaphragm type pressure gauge is employed for measuring relatively low pressure of fluid. You have to remember the word relatively. The second question, diaphragm type pressure gauge mainly consists of, your time starts now. A. Corrugated diaphragm, B. Rack and pinion mechanism, C. Pointer, D. All of the above. Yes, the answer should be, try to answer, otherwise the answer will come. Yes, the answer is D. Option D is the correct answer, that is all of the above. A diaphragm type pressure gauge, it consists of a corrugated diaphragm which is having a large working surface, and then it has that deformation of the corrugated diaphragm is magnified by means of rack and pinion mechanism. As the pinion rotates, the pointer rotates. Therefore, the correct answer is all of the above. Then the third question, you should remember, in diaphragm type pressure gauge, the fluid under pressure causes some deformation primarily to, your time starts now, diaphragm, rack, pinion, pointer. Just try to answer. In diaphragm type pressure gauge, the fluid under pressure causes some deformation primarily to the, yes, the correct answer is diaphragm. It may be a corrugated diaphragm. Whereas rack, pinion, pointer are the mechanical devices, strong devices which having no deformation. Only this corrugated diaphragm may get deformed in case of a diaphragm type pressure gauge. Then the next question you should remember, in diaphragm type pressure gauge, the position of the pointer on a scale directly gives dash of the fluid. Your time starts now. A. Force, B. Brake power, C. Pressure, D. All of the above. Yes, the correct answer is A, B, C, D. And the correct answer is C, the pressure. As the name indicates, the diaphragm type pressure gauge, it is employed for measurement of the pressure of the fluid. Then the next multiple choice question is, through the dash deformation of the diaphragm rotates the pinion in diaphragm type pressure gauge. Your time starts now. A, tube. B, piston mechanism. C, rack and pinion mechanism. D, all of the above. The correct answer is C. The correct option for the fifth question is, through the rack and pinion mechanism, deformation of the diaphragm rotates the pinion in the diaphragm type pressure gauge. Answer is C. Now, let us discuss the another very important pressure type gauge from exam point of view is the Macleod gauge. The schematic diagram of a Macleod gauge is shown here. This consists of a mercury reservoir tank. This is the bulb. This is the capillary. This is the reference column. This is the scale. And this Macleod gauge is generally employed for the measurement of very low pressure of gas. Macleod gauge is generally employed for the measurement of very low pressure of a gas. Should remember this, its purpose. And the Macleod gauge works on the principle of Boyle's perfect gas law, that is P1 V1 equals P2 V2, where P1 is the initial pressure, V1 is the initial volume, P2 is the final pressure, and V2 is the final volume. First thing you should remember, Macleod gauge is employed for measurement of very low pressure of a gas, and it works on the principle of a perfect gas given by Boyle's law, P1 V1 equals P2 V2. This is the schematic diagram. The various parts are labeled here. And now in Macleod gauge, we should find out the initial pressure of a gas, so that first we should know the known volume of a gas. The known volume V1 of the gas, whose pressure P1 is to be measured, is compressed to pressure P2 and volume V2. Now, as you know that this Macleod gauge works on the principle of Boyle's law, P1 V1 equals P2 V2, as the Macleod gauge is employed for the measurement of low pressure of a gas. Here, initially the known volume of V1 gas is taken, and it will be compressed to P2 pressure and volume V2. Then we can calculate, since it is compressed to a known pressure and volume, that is P2 and V2, since these are known, the value of P1 can be, that is the initial pressure, can be determined by the relation P1 equals P2 V2 divided by V1. You should remember, in Macleod gauge, a known volume of a gas is taken, and whose pressure P1 is to be measured. It will be compressed to a known pressure P2 and V2. As the pressures P2 and V2 are known, then the initial pressure P1 can be determined by the relation P1 equals P2 V2 divided by V1. And now consider here, now the unknown pressure, before filling the unknown, finding out the initial pressure of a gas. Here, from the screw and piston mechanism, the mercury which is in the mercury reservoirs is raised up to the cutoff point. It means we are going to adjust this mercury level up to this cutting point. This is the cutting or cutoff point by operating this threaded screw or the piston mechanism. Initially, for working of this McLeod gauge, we have to raise the or adjust the mercury level up to this cutoff point by operating this piston mechanism or the threaded screw. Sometimes we may have a threaded screw or sometimes we may have a piston mechanism, and this cutoff point is shown by the mercury level at the cutoff point is shown by blue color here. Now the unknown pressure P1 source is connected to this gauge point at this point here. When the mercury level is up to the cutoff point, we are going to adjust up to here in the initial level. Then the unknown pressure source P1 of known volume of gas is connected at this point, and this is going to fill up the bulb and the capillary. This is the capillary, this is the bulb. The unknown pressure P1 source connected at this point, gauge point, and the unknown pressure will fill up this bulb and the capillary. And then the known standard volume of a gas will be trapped in this bulb and the capillary. Initially, we are going to, using this threaded screw or the piston mechanism, we are going to adjust the mercury level up to this cutoff point. Then secondly, the unknown pressure source whose pressure P1 is to be calculated is connected at this point. Then it fills up the bulb and the capillary. That is, the known volume of gas V1 will be trapped in this bulb and the capillary, and the mercury level once again is raised by this threaded screw or the piston mechanism so that it reaches the zero reference point in the reference column. This cyan color which are shown represents the zero level of the mercury level. Initially, when the mercury level is adjusted up to cutoff point, the unknown pressure P1 is connected at this gauge point. It fills up the bulb and the capillary, and after filling, it means the known volume V1 will be trapped in this bulb and the capillary. Then once again we are going to increase the mercury level either by threaded screw mechanism or the piston mechanism till it reaches the zero reference in the reference column. And under this condition, the mercury level is shown in this cyan color, and the known volume V2 which is trapped in the capillary is directly read from the scale, and the trapped volume V2 is shown in pink color. And the difference in the height, it means here this distance, this distance H, this distance H the distance H or the difference in the height of the two columns is the measure of the trapped pressure, and the unknown pressure P1 is calculated by using the relation P1 equals P2 V2 divided by V1. This is how we are going to calculate the initial pressure or the unknown pressure P1 using the Boyle's law. From exam point of view, the question may be asked for 5 marks. The question is of the type: explain with a neat sketch the working principle of McLeod gauge and its use. This question may be asked for 5 marks or it may be for 6 marks. As he has mentioned its use, you should know the McLeod gauge is generally employed for the purpose of measuring very low pressure of a gas. Now, for writing the answer, initially you should have to write the schematic diagram which carries 3 marks. And you should label the part also. This is the mercury level, this is the reference column, this is the scale, this is the capillary, this is the bulb, and this is the cutoff point mark. Now I will try to explain once again or repeat it here. It is generally employed for measurement of very low pressure of a gas. Secondly, you should know this Macleod gauge works based on the principle of Boyle's law, P1 V1 equals P2 V2. Now, in Macleod gauge, the working principle is that the known volume V1 of the gas, whose pressure P1 is to be measured, it will be compressed to a known pressure P2 and volume V2. Since the pressures P2 and V2 are known, the value of P1 can be determined by the relation P1 equals P2 V2 divided by V1. Now coming to the operation and construction of the Macleod gauge, the unknown pressure P1 source will be connected to the Macleod gauge at point A, and the mercury level initially it is adjusted up to the cutoff point by operating this either a threaded screw mechanism or a piston mechanism up to this point. This is the cutoff point. Initially the mercury level will be up to the cutoff point, then the unknown pressure source P1 is connected at this gauge point, and it is made to fill the bulb and the capillary. Initially, after rising the mercury level only up to the cutoff point, the unknown pressure P1 is connected at gauge point A. This fills the bulb B and the capillary. Now, when the gas is trapped, whose the unknown pressure P1, its volume V1 is known, it will be trapped in the bulb and the capillary. Once it is trapped in the bulb and the capillary, once again the mercury level is raised by the piston mechanism up to the zero reference level in the reference column. Here, under this condition, the mercury level is shown in 45 degrees hatching shaded area. After the trapment of the gas, the mercury level is raised, and the mercury level is raised up to the level until it reaches the zero level in the reference column, and here the mercury level is shown in 45 degree hatching, and the volume V2 remaining in the capillary here is directly read from this scale. We know the diameter of the capillary, directly we can calculate the area, and we know the area, then we know the height, from that we can calculate the volume of the gas trapped in the capillary. And the difference in the height, here you can see, this is the reference column, zero reference, this is the mercury level in the capillary. The difference in this height H of the two column is the measure of the trapped pressure, and the unknown pressure P1 is calculated by using the Boyle's law, P1 is equal to P2 V2 divided by V1. I hope you have clearly understood the working principle of Macleod gauge. And just for your knowledge purpose, some MCQs are given here. Try to answer within 15 seconds. The first is, Macleod gauge is a device used for the measurement of, your time starts now. Option A, very low pressure. Option B, very high pressure. Option C, very low torque. D, very high torque. And the correct answer should be, yes, the correct answer has appeared. It is option A, that is Macleod gauge is a device used for the measurement of very low pressure. Then the next question, the pressure of a perfect gas is given by Boyle's law. Your answer starts now. P1 V2 is equal to P2 V1, P1 V1 equals P2 V2, P1 T1 equals P2 T2, P1 by T1 equals P2 by T2. The correct answer should be, yes, the correct answer has appeared. The correct answer is B, P1 V1 equals to P2 V2, where P1 is the initial pressure, V1 is the initial volume, P2 is the final pressure, V2 is the final volume. And the correct relation is, according to Boyle's law, is P1 V1 equals P2 V2. Then the next thing you should remember, in Macleod gauge, dash is trapped in bulb and capillary. Your time starts now. The correct answer is unknown standard volume of gas, B, known standard volume of gas, C, known standard pressure of gas, D, unknown standard pressure of gas. Yes, the correct answer has appeared. B, known standard volume of gas is trapped in the bulb and capillary. The correct answer. These are the references. I acknowledge here from session 23 to session 28 of the mechanical measurement subjects, I have used some online videos, online pictures. I have downloaded those videos and pictures. I thank for all the developers of the videos and pictures. The team members, thank you. I hope you will enjoy this video session.